Janai Broom announces he's returning to Auburn, and Aden Holloway makes one interesting decision. Let's talk about it on this live edition of the Uptempo podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Yes, sir. What's up, Auburn family? Dustin Smith and Blake Lane back at you. A little pop-up podcast because Blake, there's just been some stuff happening with the basketball situation that we can't ignore, man. And me and you've been texting back and forth when the Twitters have been firing off and everyone's been DMing us. What's y'all's opinion? What's y'all's opinion? So, and then there's so much stuff happening on the football side that we got to keep our Tuesday night live show reserved for like an hour of football talk tomorrow because, boy, I can't wait to get to that. So let's get into here, man, and just talk about the situation going on with the basketball. Kind of start off with, obviously, we got some guys returning. Got some guys making, like I said, some very interesting decisions, some decisions we have not seen happen often in the history of the Iron Bowl rivalry. And then we'll kind of round out the discussion by talking about what we think that is still kind of missing and what Bruce needs to add. Personally, me and you agree. We're almost there. But let's start off with Janai Blake, and I know this is your guy, so I want to get your thoughts. I got up the stats from last year here, and I want to point out as you look at these really good numbers, this is also split in time. You know, he could have played a lot more minutes and really boosted these up even more. So just how big is this, Blake, to get our guy back, our All-American, our captain, the guy that the offense kind of ran through last year?
I think it's huge to get Janai Broom back. I think now you can look at filling that other point guard position. You did get the Pegues kid and everything, but you need one more. But we're really looking at the guy that your offense ran through last year in Janai Broom. And one of the biggest things with me in Janai's game from 2 years ago to this past season was Janai opened the three ball up. For him to be able to step out and shoot the three ball, it allowed more spacing in Auburn's offense, in my opinion. And I feel like if the guard position can help Janai and Dylan and Chaney down there, I feel like Auburn could have a really special season. Janai, in my opinion, he improved on rebounding. He improved on his free throw shooting. I thought his footwork in the paint, the moves that he acquired from 2 years ago to last offseason, I thought each part of his game got better. And somehow, all of Aden Holloway's NIL money went to Janai, and Auburn got to keep Janai, or whatever Seth Davis said. So, look, bringing Janai back, yeah, I mean, that was just a clown tweet, okay? Just a clown tweet, but we'll get into it. But bringing Janai back, it's absolutely huge because if you lose Janai, all right, now that's just another piece that you got to go into the portal. You're losing your best player. Things are starting to swirl. You lose Jalen Williams. You know, he's out of eligibility. So you got Dylan still there. Cardwell decides to come back. But you lose that offensive production. And I don't know how he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year in the Southeastern Conference, Janai Broom. So you do bring that back on the defensive end. A hell of a job by Bruce and staff to get Janai Broom back on campus for his last year of eligibility.
Yeah, and I mean, the way he played this season, I kind of felt like it was a foregone conclusion because if we go back to last year, we thought he was definitely coming back to the team. And then he goes out to these pro events and these combines and just balls out to the point to where he starts getting feedback like, hey, you know, you might be a late round pick. So then I thought him coming in and really stepping up so many parts of his game. I mean, there were times in the season where Janai had the ball at the top of the key and we were running everything through him.
Yep.
And that was because, like you said, he shot around 35% this year from three. But also he really gained the ability to put the ball on the floor and kind of slice and dice a little bit and get to the rim.
Yep.
He really added a whole lot to his game. He was very streaky at the stripe, but he had a stretch for a while there where he shot the ball well, kind of tailed back off at the end of the season. But overall, his free throw percentage improved a little bit. And he definitely showed flashes of like, I can step up to the stripe and be consistent. I think back to some games, I think it was like 9 for 10, 10 for 11. He had some games where he really stepped up and hit it. So the ability there is to do, is for him to do that. And I think too, man. So like, it's a double-edged sword for me because you getting Dylan back, and we talked about this all year, was how the upgrade that Dylan made in his game, what that allowed Janai to do.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking back at these two guys coming back for another year, and I'm like, man, I don't know how many teams out there have a better 5 situation than we have. You see Janai's numbers right there. We saw the game. We saw the improvement that both of these guys' games made. Okay, Dylan's game took a big jump. Janai's took a big jump. Dylan knows his role. He's not going to complain. He's going to come in. He's going to give you energy. He's going to do his thing. He's experienced. You're not going to get stupid, silly mistakes out of him at this point in his career. You know what Dylan is. That's the perfect backup 5, in my opinion. He's going to get defense, rebounding, bring the energy, smart IQ plays. And then the team kind of runs through Janai. So, like, I look at our 5 situation and say, man, I don't know. We pack one hell of a punch right there. So I'm really, really excited about it. And if Dylan can just improve a little bit like he did last year, and if Janai's game can take another little bit of a jump in the same way he did last year, they're going to be, I don't know how much more Janai, like how much more deadly he can really get after the way he played last year, because 2.2 assists to go along with 2.2 blocks, like he was opening up the floor for everybody. There was just it's rare, right? I say this a lot about a point guard. When a point guard's balling, like when a guy like Trey is really doing his thing with the basketball IQ, he can control the game with his dribble. There were times where Janai was controlling the game kind of when he had the ball in his hands. And for a 5, man, that's very unique and very rare. So just big time. And I know On to Victory had something to do with it. So shout out to them, and Bruce and everybody kind of getting them back in here, man. So I'm just really, really fired up about that. And then that's what, like I said, in segment 3, we'll kind of talk about that 4 spot that, we know that Jalen's gone. So filling that will then kind of help out Janai and solidify what he's got to do down there at the 5 spot. Going to get some comments, Blake, and then I kind of want to get into the topic that everybody wants to talk about tonight, and me and you are fired up to do it as well. But I want to shout out to our members that are always in here. Brett is in here. Devin is in here. Our guy Chris is in the building. And Auburn Dad, I see you, baby. You ain't getting left out this time, son. You're not getting left out this time. We appreciate you being here with us as always. Tyler, my brother's got a question. That's a good question for the end of the episode. Miller is in here as well with the War Damn Up Tempo. Listen, if I missed you, just know that I love you. The comments are popping. You got one that you had highlighted, Blake? I see you looking over there.
Oh no, I'm looking at the Buck family.
Yeah.
I love it. I love Miller. Miller house.
I see you, Miller. And listen, I agree with you. So let's use that as our transition. So Aden Holloway commits to Alabama. He is officially going over to Alabama. An act that would make any Auburn fan shiver. Not something you see often. And then, as I have up here, I'm not going to put the full quote up there, but he said, "I was sold a dream by a coach," and I'm sure y'all have all seen his full quote by now. He took some shots at BP.
Yep.
And Blake, I'm just going to kind of get started here. I got a little bulletin point.
Go, man.
That I want to get to. First off, Brad McCann put on Twitter. He put this on there, so it's at Brad McCann. I haven't really had much interactions with Brad McCann, but I saw this, and it's a good tweet, and I looked up the stats, and Brad wasn't lying. Last year, of every Auburn scholarship player, Aden Holloway finished last in defensive box plus and minus, win shares over 40 minutes, effective field goal percentage, true shooting percentage, 3-point percentage in SEC play. Mind you, he was 4 to 5 point percentage points behind the center, and he was a point guard. And then his field goal percentage was dead last on the team, and then his offensive and defensive overall ratings were dead last on the team. So those are just some kind of point of references there. And then if you watched the War Report yesterday, Mike G said that he has it from some sources on good authority that Aden Holloway ghosted Auburn. that he didn't do exit interviews with Bruce, and he just didn't talk to anybody on the phone, and he up and left. Well, Trey Donaldson's going to Michigan, and I'm sure him and Bruce had some disagreements. But Trey Donaldson didn't do that. There's a podcast going on right now, or it came out a couple of days ago. Cam Newton sat down with Shannon Sharp. He talked about his decision coming out of Blinn, having to call Dan Mullen. And he didn't want to do that because, you're a young kid and you're like, man, golly, this sucks. I don't want to have to do this right here. I'm going to Auburn. I got to call this guy and tell him I'm not coming. And his dad said, no, you have to be a man and you have to man up and call Dan Mullen and let him know of your decision. And third of all, like I've been saying for about a month or two, go back. I wish I could remember. It was after one of Auburn's losses. So not a whole lot, but I was on Lobtown with Ike, and we were talking about Aiden because he had struggled. And I'd made the point that if Aiden doesn't get it together, you're going to be asking Trey to carry the team in a tournament game. And as much as I love Trey, I don't think he's that player. Yep. I think Trey is a guy that can complement good players around him. With his IQ, he can make players around him better. But asking any point guard to play the entire second half of a tournament game is tough. So now we have to ask ourselves, why did Trey have to play the entirety of the second half of the tournament game? No, because Aden Holloway went 0 for 5. And I've made this point a couple times now. When Bruce tried to put him in at underneath the 6-minute mark, and he was going to try to get Trey just to that 3 to 4 minute mark, right? Just get his leg a quick rest. Yale was already in the bonus. Dead ball situation. Before the ball's even inbounded, Aiden fouls, Yale goes to the bonus, pulls him right back out. Because you can't play him. He became unplayable. So the scenario that I posed 2 months before on an episode of Lobtown came to pass. It came to be exactly what happened in the tournament. And y'all know, I don't want to be right about these things. I wish Aiden balled. And that wasn't even a prediction. I was just saying, if it gets to this point, Aiden's got to get it together, or we could find ourselves in this situation. I wasn't saying like this is going to happen. I was pulling for Aiden to get it together, right? It wasn't like taking shots at him at the time or nothing like that. It just was, hey, man, we're watching the play here. It's got to get better. And so all that being said, Bruce Pearl gave you every opportunity. To say that you were sold a dream, you're full of crap, okay? You got to live the dream. You started the tournament game, and if you would have done your job and not turned the ball over at a ridiculous rate and made some open shots, go back to the layup that Aiden missed. Brandy Mack posted it on Twitter a couple of days ago. He drives the hole, which is a rarity, and then going up with his right hand for no reason. He tries to go up underneath and switch to the left when he has a wide open basket on the right side with his dominant hand. He created a difficult shot for no reason and just blew the layup.
Yep.
So, and really, when you look at the totality of his season, how many good games were there? It certainly went south in SEC play. So your point guard has to be a leader, okay? You got to lead on the court, it's not quite like quarterback. We have to, lead off the court as well. But you got to be a leader, man. And some of that off the field stuff bleeds on to the court, because if you're doing certain things off the court, then they don't want to listen to you on the court. Body language. Body language was terrible. Yep. How many times did Aden Holloway look shook?
Numerous.
Numerous. And I'm saying all these things because you took the shots, bro. You took the shots at a coach that gave you every single opportunity and defended you. And the Auburn fans, up until this week, defended you. Boy, go look at my mentions from a month ago when I said that we need to move on from Aden Holloway.
Yep.
Did I not get attacked, Blake?
Yep.
Everybody came at me pretty hard. But now all of a sudden everybody's attacking him because y'all were just surprised that he went over there. And now you're bringing up the stats and all that. I told y'all, man, this is Chance Westry 2.0. That's what this is. Let's call it. Let's call a spade, okay? So at the end of the day, when not doing your exit interview, not saying anything to coaches, not saying anything to teammates, the fact that you can't own up to the fact that it's on you. It was on you. If you played well in the first half versus Yale, I promise you Trey Donaldson wouldn't have played 19 and a half minutes or whatever it was in the second half of the tournament game. That's solely on you, bro, because you became unplayable. Showed no mental toughness all year, constantly got rattled, and everything on the court lines up with this stuff that I'm hearing now off the court, that you can't sit down across from Bruce Pearl after all the time he put in recruiting you and your family. Okay, so you go take your shots. But I'll tell you this, Aden Holloway, while you're taking shots, you don't make them. You don't make them on the court. And the shots you've taken off the court, you haven't made those either. And you're going over to a play. And listen, Nate Oates is a great basketball coach. And right now, like, their program is doing good things. So, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. And you can watch the Auburn fan base reaction to Trey Donaldson versus the Auburn fan base reaction to Aden Holloway. And obviously the Iron Bowl rivalry plays into that. But our guy Ike did a good job talking about it yesterday. You just broke too many cardinal rules, bro. And my thing is this, Blake, and I'll pass it to you. When you can't step up and say, hey, man, I did shoot 31%. Hey, bro, there were games where I was unplayable. I refused to go to the basket. I took shots from 30, 34 feet that never had a chance of making it, and I shot my team out the game. I didn't live up to my 5-star billing, not to mention the defense. And let me tell y'all something right now. Bruce Pearl didn't go to Aden Holloway and say, hey, bro, you're off the team. But what he did say was, I'm bringing in guys because you were unplayable when I needed you most.
Yep.
So I've got to bring in guys like JP who have a montage of game-winning, game-tying, under a minute to go, buzzer-beater type clutch shots. I got to go get that guy. I can't risk another year of you being point guard one. And the fact that Aden couldn't look inside himself and see that a lot of this is on him and acknowledge that, hey, I'm not even going to wish you good luck. I'm wishing you the worst of luck, honestly. Not in life, but on the basketball court. I hope you never make another shot. And I don't think that I'm going to have to like hope too hard for that. He's Chance Westry 2.0. Aden Holloway is overrated. He's not good at basketball, and you will not hear anything good from him. He's not getting figured out over there at Alabama. You know what he is? He's burnt toast on defense now because he doesn't have Bruce Pearl's defensive genius to back him up. Will his shooting percentage maybe go up a little bit? Maybe under Nate Oates' system. But overall, as a player, this kid will never play in the NBA, and you'll never hear nothing from him again.
My thing with Aden, Dustin, is obviously the quote, man. I was sold a dream by a coach, and then he went on to say, you know, they basically took me out of the game plan, and I was just out there to be out there on the offensive side. I wasn't getting the shots. All right, my guy, like Dustin just said, you gotta take responsibility here and say, hey, look, you gotta look at yourself and say, hey, I didn't have the best year. I didn't live up to the McDonald's All-American hype. It just didn't happen. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. Instead, you want to take the easy way out, and then you want to go to the ops. You want to go to the one team that you know we will never say anything good about you. Ever. Ever. This ain't a Bo Nix situation. This ain't an Alan Flanagan situation. Hell, it ain't even a Bree Ellis situation, to be honest. At least she did some good for Auburn. Right. At least she won some softball games for Auburn, even though she did get a little controversial on Twitter a couple times, but she won some games for Auburn. She spent at least, 2 years at the school?
Yeah, she had a gripe about her shoes giving her blisters. There were some things going
Yeah,
on there, right?
But Aiden didn't do anything.
Right.
Dang sure didn't play no defense. He's just look. Everybody wants to say, well, he was just a freshman. All right, all my Alabama buddies, Blake, he's just a freshman. Nate Oates will improve him. You're a 5-star McDonald's All-American. Jared McCain, Duke. Did he have a problem? No, he didn't. He come in as a true freshman, averaged 15 points a game, would go off here and there for 30, and he took Duke to the Elite Eight. He didn't struggle as a true freshman. He entered his name into the NBA draft a couple days ago. There's guys all around the country that they're freshmen. All right? Look at Dillingham, Shepard at Kentucky. Both of those cats had great years. Their coach just ain't no good. And they lost to Oakland in the first round. All right? But they both had great years. They're both going to get drafted in the NBA draft. So don't give me all of this, oh, well, he was a freshman. No, he didn't live up to the hype. You had open shots. You had them. At one point in the year, Dustin, we even heard, well, he's not shooting the ball off the screen. All right? He's not getting good looks. He's having to take off-balance jumpers. All right? Bruce even catered to this to where Denver would go to the point sometimes and let Aiden get spot-up shots.
Preach.
And he would still miss.
Right.
He would still miss. He would let Aiden go to the 2 and spot up and shoot, and he would still miss. It's not, I got sold a dream by a coach. It's not. You, like Dustin said, you were given the dream. You were handed on a silver platter and said, hey, here, you're a freshman. You don't have to do too much because we got Janai and Jalen, and then CBM emerged. All right, you don't have to do too much. You don't have to be a superstar. Just give me 12 to 14. That's all I need. And you can't give me that. That's why I put on Twitter, I'm not about to get upset over a guy going to Alabama when he couldn't even make a free throw or a layup. I mean, we're in an NCAA tournament game and Buddy goes to the strike. And as soon as he misses, Dustin talked about body language. Head straight down. Straight down. That's not Bruce Pearl. That's you. That is you. The layup that Dustin mentioned. Watched it all over social media the past couple days. Man, if you're not hitting that, that's a bunny. That is a bunny. You're unplayable at that point, and you have to come out of the game. Because now, when you're not being effective on offense, it is 4v5.
Right.
Yeah. And you're not playing defense, all right? It's 4v5. You're 6 foot, probably 5'11", now that he braided his hair, all right? He's probably 5'11" now, let's be honest. And you don't play defense, and you can't go in the trees in the paint and get buckets. This ain't high school anymore, folks. It's not. All right? All that McDonald's All-American AAU stuff and all that, you see the clips on Twitter where they're showing highlights? Notice there's no college clips. And if there is one, it's from the Baylor game, which, by the way, was the first game of the season.
Right.
That's the only clip you'll get. That's it. There's nothing there. It's all AAU highlights. Because he didn't live up to it, Dustin. He just... And my biggest thing is you talk trash about the school that gave you an opportunity. You chose that school. So obviously you believed in something, all right? You believed in those guys when you went on that visit. You believed in that coaching staff. Alan Flanagan, did you ever hear him when he left Auburn? Did you ever hear him say, man, that Bruce Pearl, he's trash, man. He's trash. He didn't want to include me in the offense. No, he said, hey, I'm a graduate. I'm an Auburn alum. I got my degree from Auburn University. I got to go over here to Ole Miss to try to improve my draft stock in my last year of college basketball, but my heart is in Auburn. I can't forgive him, Dustin, and I'm with you. He's going to the Ops. He's going to Tuscaloosa. I can't pull for him. I can't. And it's not a oh, well, I hope he goes, 0 for 12 in both games he plays Auburn or anything like. No, I hope he goes 0 for 12 every game he plays.
Right.
And I'm not hating on him moving forward in life. I hope he is an amazing person. I hope he gets a degree from the University of Alabama, and I hope he goes on to do great things. Somehow, I hope he continues his basketball career. All right, I don't want it at Alabama. All right, I don't want it at Alabama. I just can't sit here and say, "Oh, go be great, Aiden." I can't, because you chose the one school that you all know we hate, we can't stand, and it's not going to be okay. And I hope when you walk back into Neville, they treat you like LeBron got treated when he walked back into Cleveland. But you can't have the same game as LeBron. All right, you can't go off like LeBron went off on Cleveland. But I hope it is on those levels. His return to Neville is on Cleveland to LeBron return. I really do. I hope it is. I hope it's loud. I hope the signs are crazy. I hope it's just full blown chaos in Neville Arena when Aden Holloway returns, because it doesn't sit well with me, Dustin, at all. Not a bit, man. Just the downing of Bruce right there in that single line. It don't sit well with me.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Look, when you talk about people saying, well, he's a freshman. Trey Donaldson was a freshman in the tournament, his freshman year, excuse me. And those were probably his two best performances of his freshman season, was when the lights came on at the tournament. I've said it 10 times on this podcast. We probably beat Houston, or we are at least right there in that ball game with Houston. If we don't take Trey out, we put Wendell Green back in at point, took Trey out, and things happened.
Yep.
So Trey was a freshman, and he was able to step up in the clutch and make something happen. So I just, you know what I mean? Like, they do that.
That's true. That's probably why he went there.
Yeah, that is a fact. Get some of y'all's comments on Aiden real quick, and then we're going to talk about what we want to see from the portal here going forward. But I do know that a lot of you guys, man, have the same feelings that me and Blake do, because like Blake said, it's the ops. Devin said to have fun sitting behind Mark Sears. Yeah, he's not going to pass. He's not going to pass Mark Sears if Mark comes back. Max Effort says, don't let the door hit you on the ace on the way out, Aiden. He dipped so quick, I don't think the door had time to close on him, brother. He didn't let anybody know. He was just up and gone. Brett Auburn Dad says, Brett, some of those Bama fans that were dissing Aiden during the season, bunch of hypocrites. Yeah, that's the way that goes, brother. But they'll find out soon enough. They won't be singing his praises a couple weeks into the season. I can guarantee you that. And then what you got, Blake?
I was just going to say real quick, too, is the ghosting of Auburn and everything. I said something to Brett in our game day group chat when we were wondering if Janai was coming back or not. I always felt like when you started seeing Janai making the social media content, he was coming back. That means he was on campus. He was practicing with the team. He was hanging out with the fellas. He was making content. If you're leaving, you're not making content for the social media team. You're not. All right, the only content you're making is you sitting down in front of a camera and saying, hey, I have enjoyed every minute I've had at Auburn. I'm declaring for the NBA draft. That's the only content you're making. Instead, he's going around and saying, what's up, brother? All right? I mean, he's doing he's having fun. And so that right there, I was just like, hey, he's not leaving, and that just shows, I guess, the maturity of one to say, hey, look, I'm going to sit in here. I have a decision. I'm going to come be a grown man. We're going to sit down and we're going to have a talk. And you're going to have to tell me why I need to come back to Auburn. All right? And if it's not what I want to hear, then I'll leave. I'll go to the NBA draft or I'll transfer because we heard that there were some teams that were wanting Janai to transfer. And Janai went in like a grown man. And don't tell me they're not grown now because they get paid to play sports, so they're grown. All right? And he had an adult conversation. Why can't we? Look, we got to grow up. We got to grow up. It's just that simple, man. And that's the portal. Look, it's not just him. It's a ton of kids in the portal. We got kids in college football that have only been to school, I think, what was it, Clemson? The kid, he just signed with Clemson, and now he's already in the transfer portal. Like, what are we doing here? We gotta grow up. We gotta grow up, not just in basketball, but in football, in every sport, man. These kids gotta be better.
Yeah, Jeff says, Aiden's comment shows how mentally weak he is. He led the team in 3 attempts, and when Trey took his job, Pearl gave him another shot. Yeah, listen, it kind of speaks for itself. And I said it on the Tuesday on the live show the other night. And actually, we posted it as a short. If you transfer high schools, sophomore, junior, senior season, this coach was a problem. Then this coach was a problem. Then this coach was a problem. And now you're in college, and this coach was a problem. Man, maybe you were picking the wrong coaches, or maybe your ass is the problem. Man, I'll leave it.
You actually said that at the beginning of the season. You were like, "Look, I'm not gonna, we talked during, off air,
yeah, right?"
But Dustin made a comment before the season and was just like, "Hey, I'm not big into the whole transfer here, transfer here, transfer here, transfer here during high school. Like, I don't like that. I don't think it's cool." And I was like, wow, I didn't even notice that. Like, I didn't know that Aiden was transferring 3, I didn't. And here we are. Now you're transferring in college. It seems like a trend, man.
Man, follow the breadcrumbs. A lot of times that means that parents are involved and all kind of stuff. But as we round this out, man, good crowd in here for a pop-up live show that we just kind of decided to do on the fly here. I see y'all's football comments. We're definitely going to touch on all that on tomorrow's live show. Daniel says we're loading up on defense. Yes, you are. Yes, we are, brother. Fired up to talk about it. What you got, baby?
Hold on. Auburn fans are salty. Aiden didn't want to play for y'all. Y'all's basketball team lost to Yale, and your football coach calls hookers. The team that lost to Yale beat you by 18, by the way. All right, just pointing that out there. All right, beat you by 18. And as far as the football coach calling hookers, brother, that was almost a decade ago. All right, give it up, man. It's over. Let me tell you something. There's 3 people that have to forgive Hugh Freeze. All right, that is his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That is his bride, his wife of however long they've been together, and his children. And if those 3 can forgive Hugh Freeze on that, then he's forgiven. It's over. It's a wrap. All right. It was a decade ago. Move on. The jokes aren't funny. It's lame. To be honest, it's lame. Nobody's salty about Aiden. Like I said, couldn't make a free throw, couldn't make a layup against Yale, Ivy League. So congrats, you got him. It's great. Enjoy 30%. All right, it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah. If you feel like this is just salt, brother, you're on our podcast already. Which, by the way, you won't ever catch me on a Gump podcast. But since you're over here, go check out. We have an episode from about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It'll be on our lives. Go to our live feed, and it's got Trey Donaldson on the cover. And the name of the episode is Trey Donaldson enters the portal. What does this mean for the future of Auburn at the point guard position? And I say in that episode, with no knowledge of Aden Holloway about to go to Alabama, that Auburn would be better off moving on from Aden Holloway. We have about a dozen of our member chat that's in here right now, and they can all tell you that for about a month, even at the end of the season, I was saying I think it's best for Auburn to move on from Aden Holloway here in the future. We do member pods where we looked at his film and said, hey, this isn't it. There's multiple brother. There's hours of me saying this throughout the season as the season progressed. So you're just salty. You're just wrong. You're the one that's salty. And truthfully, again, no, we did not make the Final Four this year. Alabama had a better basketball season. Alabama had a better basketball season than Auburn. Alabama had a better football season than Auburn. Alabama's having a better baseball season than Auburn. Me and Blake routinely take shit on this podcast for saying that. We've lost subs saying that Alabama athletics is ahead of Auburn. So you're coming in here this is the wrong podcast for the troll shit, brother. Y'all are better as an athletic. Y'all are better as an athletic program right now. We're speaking the facts about Aden Holloway. If it was Trey Donaldson committing to Alabama, the tone would be a whole lot different. And again, there's video evidence of this. If you really care that much, then go back and watch the hours of us talking about basketball throughout the season, and everything that we've said will line up, okay? This is not a troll podcast. Me and Blake don't do clickbait, okay? We're not the sunshine. We're not the Auburn sunshine pumping crew. We're not the bootlicking crew. Boy, me and Blake got some relationships on the baseball team. It's hard for us to say the truth about how sorry our baseball team is right now, but we still say it. We're not those guys. So Alabama had the better basketball season. Alabama, I gave Nate Oates his flowers. I said he's on top right now. He's doing his thing. Alabama is a better athletic program. And then like Blake said on the Hugh Freeze jokes, dog, is that what you got? Like, is that what you got? Because you're 10 years late. We get those comments every single episode. I got that today, dude. Auburn picked up a portal D lineman today, and I got that from an Ole Miss fan under my. I've been getting it for 2 years, so I would encourage you to get a little bit more creative, kind of come up with something a little bit different. But at the same time, we call you Gumps for a reason. You earned it, So I wouldn't expect a whole lot from you, brother. And you've kind of held up our Auburn podcast here, so. We're gonna keep it pushing, and frankly, dude, you can kiss my
ass. Yeah, look, here's one thing I was gonna say too is I get on Twitter today, and I retweet something about the D lineman picking Auburn. All right, I retweet it, and next thing I know, my phone starts buzzing in my pocket. And so I'm like, all right, it's probably an Auburn fan here. Let me open it up. It's like 3 Alabama replies. And it's all like, oh, dude had 1 sack last year. The Rakes kid. The dude had 1 sack last year. And I'm like, okay, and? Like, it was a depth piece. It's a piece we needed. Like,
it's a 3-tech defensive lineman. Yeah.
We don't have the bodies in that room right now. It was a struggle that was needed to bring guys in, all right, to compete. So yeah, I'm gonna celebrate it.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, it's here's Auburn. People retweeting the tweet. Here's Auburn celebrating a guy with 1 year of eligibility left. And he barely put up any stats, and he was only at USC for half a year, and then bang, he goes to Auburn. And I'm just like, dude, it's not about his stats or numbers. It's about getting a guy that has the potential to come in. Hopefully he can be coached up at a position that we desperately need.
Right.
You're missing the point. You're just wanting to get on and talk. Look, I don't have the energy to go to Alabama fans' tweets and say, hey, look, yada yada. I just don't. I don't care. Like, I really don't. When they get a football like Miami of Ohio's kicker yesterday, cool. That's great. He won the Lou Groza. All right, he's the best kicker in the country. He's not. He's not the best kicker in the country. Maybe the best 2 kickers in the country reside in Auburn, Alabama. I'm just telling you. All right, you can take that award and have it. But he ain't the best kicker in the country. He missed a field goal last year. I know a guy who didn't.
Yeah.
So I could have went on there and said some crap like that, but I didn't because I don't have the energy, I don't have the time, and I don't care about Alabama like that, man. Like, yes, I hate them, but I'm not about to go watch an Alabama podcast and get in the comments and be like, oh yeah, screw Alabama, y'all suck. Yeah, it's childish to me, man. Childish.
Yeah. It's wild, and it's even cracks me up from the standpoint of everybody watching knows that like me and you take flack for saying the truth when Bama beats us.
Dustin,
I've got drugged multiple times for not just attacking Bama and actually saying the truth from a whole section of Auburn fans. Like, and then I've actually gained a half a dozen, maybe to 24 followers lately of Bama fans on Twitter because they're like, "Hey, man, you're legit. Like, you just say what it is." So, like, you miss me with the troll stuff, brother. Like, you just miss me with that. We keep it real. Keep it real.
Yeah, and I wintered our fan base for celebrating an SEC tournament championship after we lost to Yale. All right, and the reason I did that is because I want you to expect more. All right. I want you to expect more and that standard, all right? It's simply we were letting our rival, our arch rival, outdo us, and we're tired of it. We're tired of it. I don't know if it gets old to y'all, but it gets old to me.
Yeah.
It gets exhausting, man, watching them constantly just beat us down. That was my thing, is like, I'm going to hit you straight on how I feel because I'm tired of it. I want us to win, and you can take that SEC championship and you can shove it, all right, because I want the big one, and I want it before their ass gets it, all right? That's where I was coming from. I want one before they get one. So I'm going to hit you real with how I feel, and I know Dustin's the same way.
Yeah, for sure. So that was a good time and that was fun. But guys, he is blocked and banned from the channel. I don't know how long they keep it. I don't know how long that YouTube, keeps their bans going, but we won't see him for a little bit. We just don't have the time for it. And listen, I'm not mad about Bama getting Aden Holloway. I'm happy because now Auburn has an advantage in at least 2 SEC games next year versus our arch rival and point guard. Brother, I can't wait. I can't wait to play Aden Holloway next year. I hope to God that y'all play this guy over 10 minutes a game because it's going to be, like Blake said, 5-on-4 for us at the least. And then on the offensive side, he's going to shoot you out as well. So, like, thank you, Aden Holloway. I said a week ago when it started like coming around, I hope this is what happens. And Nathan says, like, yeah, even if the kid plays. And this has been a very fan type podcast tonight, so I do want to again reiterate, this is all basketball, man. I don't know Aden Holloway the person. I don't know his family personally. I wish him nothing but the best in life, man. I'm sure he's a great kid and all that kind of stuff. This is a fan podcast coming from a fan perspective. It's the greatest rivalry in sports, and somebody just switched up. Y'all know what's coming. And again, like I told our Bama fan, he ain't here to listen because I kicked him out. But look, if it was Trey going over there, you'd hear something different. The tone would be different. I'm like, man, y'all are getting a guy that if you use him right, he could win some games in the SEC for you. I would be upset at that point, but that's not what you're getting. We talked about Janai maybe going into the portal. That's not what you got, right? Like, you got a guy who, I'm going to say it again, dead last in Auburn in plus minus. Win shares over 40 minutes, effective field goal percentage, true field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, offensive and defensive overall ratings. That's what you got. Those are the real stats. So I'm not too much worried about it. What I am worried about, Blake, is Jalen Williams is a guy that held it down for Auburn in that 4 spot for a while. So when we look at the progress that Chaney Johnson made, that's kind of the one spot we're looking at, right? We got to come in here and get us a 4 that maybe can start. Maybe Chaney can go up into that role, but if we get enough, but whoever we get, he's at least got to be able to come in then if we do that and play Chaney's role. So obviously what we're looking at now is, we need another point guard. We need a backup guy, and a guy like you. Great post about Javon McCormick the other day. Maybe a guy like that, and then just locking up a solid 4, and I think we'll be good to go, huh, brother?
I'm right there with you. And Javon, man, I think a lot of people that went over their head.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Dude never complained. He hit shots when he come on, and when he was asked to do something, he did it. He never complained. So that's what we need. We need one more guard. Apparently, there's some guys being looked at, some guys scheduling visits and everything like that. I'm really concerned about the 4 because we gotta have that piece. I love how Chaney progressed last year. I mean, that was just beautiful to watch, if we're being honest. Just his outside shooting, dribble drive, everything, rebounding got better. Just confidence was oozing at one point. And look, that's a guy that was playing lower level basketball and come straight to the SEC, had a game in front of Bruce Pearl, come straight to the SEC and said, hey, I can compete and I can play at a high level. So if you have to go to that route again, and it's not a bad route because Chad Becker-Mazar had to step down and play junior college ball. There's hoopers down there. All right. So it's not a bad route to go. Maybe, you can keep the Morehead State thing, and maybe you can keep that pipeline. You can keep, what's the conference called? Morehead State's in? My mind just went blank.
Yeah. Ohio Valley.
Yeah.
Telling Southland, SoCon. I don't know where they're at.
Devin says, but Blake Bruce does not develop players. That's cap. That is wild. That is one of the wildest things that I've heard on the internet, honestly. I'm kind of tired of it because we can say, look how much better Janai's gotten. Look at the growth of Janai. Look at Chaney. The growth of him in just 20 games. We can sit here and say he doesn't develop players and all of this. Sharif Cooper, he got better in his tenure at Auburn. In his 1 year, he got better. Samir Dowdy. All right. Let's not mention Bryce Brown. Dog.
Okoro got better throughout his season.
Yes. It's a wild thing to say, man. And you have Jabari Smith choose to come to your school. He gets drafted 3rd overall in the NBA draft. To say he doesn't develop players is insane. It's insane. I don't care about the argument of who's the better coach between Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl. That is pointless argument. All right, I couldn't care less about it. But to sit here and say Bruce Pearl can't coach is wild. And Brett says, yeah, the OVC. Maybe you can keep that pipeline going. You've gotten some good players out of there. So, look, it's 2 positions that we got to add. We need some nice guys to come in, some bucket getters. All right, that's what we need. Bucket getters, guys that can score, unlike the guy who left. So, yeah, that's what I'm really I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Because you look at how we ran the offense through the front court really for a couple of years, and we can make the argument we kind of need to get a little more stable in the back court there because.
Yeah,
like you always say, bro, when we get to March. But ultimately, the point I'm making is you've had some solid 4s there for a while. Jalen and Janai were definitely able to complement each other. They had just Jalen's game being so unique and kind of allowing Janai to do some different things down there. They both are so good at passing the ball as bigs. So got to find a piece that will fit with Janai down there. But I trust Bruce to do it. For all this talk about Bruce with guards lately, He's doing pretty damn good, in my opinion, in the last 4 or 5 years in the front court. So I got faith they'll find a 4 that we can get in there and make it right.
Facts. And this, Dustin, play Broome and Cardwell together, some with Janai at the 4. I think you're gonna see it. I think you're gonna see it. I don't think you're gonna see it for an extended period of time.
Close a game, close a half.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. We need defensive stops. Look, with the progress that Janai's game made last year, he really a lot of things he got better at open up him to play the 4. I love this comment, Max Effort, because if say there's another 5 out there that you can get in the portal, then you're saying, okay, well, maybe I can slide Janai over here to the 4. Very interested. This is a very great point. And then so, guys, we're about to get out of here. I got one more question on the board. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. You know, we'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. live. Lots and lots of football talk. It's going to be a talk. It's going to be an hour of jam-packed stuff, man. There's commitments coming in left and right. A couple guys leaving. But let's get in here and get to Tyler's final question of the night. War Damn Eagle boys, War Damn Eagle to you, little brother. He says, who do we think takes a bigger step in the offense next year? CBM or Denver Jones? I think CBM is going to be a man on a mission. I also think that he's going to be a man on a mission, but he's also going to have March circled. I think CBM is already coming into – I'm not saying he's not going to work and try throughout the season. Don't read it that way. But I think CBM's saying, hey, I got to get to March next year because I got unfinished. Yep. It's redemption song for me. And then I want to see Denver take more shots. And I think that with a guy like KD leaving and a guy like Aiden leaving, a lot of shots are opening up here. A lot of bad shots are opening up here. And maybe Denver can make those some good shots. This is very interesting, man. I think it kind of depends on how the roster fills out, right? What's the other guard that we go get? What does he do? Right now, and then it's like these are the 2 spots I get. I mean, because you got Simo. Simo's not going to take any shine from CBM next year. You're still trying to figure out. To me, it's TBD. But to answer the question today, I'm going to say as it currently stands, Denver, because the shots are going down from the guard position, and he's going to have the ability to shoot the ball a lot more. And I hope there are games where we saw at the end of last year when Denver was like 4 for 6, and then he didn't shoot it in the second half because other guys were feeling it. I want to see games this year where Denver's 9 for 14, 10 for 15, 10 for 16, shooting that damn rock, dude. So I'm going to go Denver Jones on this one. But I think CBM's going to come in fired up next year too.
I agree with the CBM. Fired up. Redemption. Go get them, big dog. To me, it's Denver Jones. I think a great year for Denver Jones next year takes a lot of pressure off of Tahad Pettiford. I think he could make life easy for Tahad. All right. Denver really come on middle of the year, towards the end, off screen, catch and shoot. Mid-range was really nice towards the end of the year. I really think he got that confidence. And Denver started finding the stroke. And once he got it, I felt like he always needed more touches. And like Dustin said, he didn't get those because other kids were sold a dream and they were given it, and they couldn't throw it into the Gulf of Mexico. So, and finally, Denver. Look, I saw a tweet the other day that said Denver Jones is a whole lot of mid. That's insane. All right? Like I said, just tell me you didn't watch Auburn basketball because he's far and far away from mid. And they say, oh, well, you know what their response was? Well, his points per game dropped 11 total points. Well, that's because he was the guy at FIU, and he went to not being the guy at Auburn. He went to being the 4th, 5th option. All right? Was still putting up 13, 7. He had 17 against Yale, y'all. All right? And you had Janai in front of him. You had the ball going to Jalen. You had the ball going to Aiden. You had the ball going to CBM. Like, come on. Denver wasn't getting the touches that he deserved last year. So I think once he gets those this year, you're going to see a lot better Denver Jones than what you saw at the beginning of last year. And he's going to hit that stride. I think he's going to be one of these guys that leads this Auburn basketball team in that locker room.
Yeah, I agree with you. Good stuff tonight, Blake. Good crowd for a podcast that we did not plan on doing. But like I said, man, it was getting so hot out there on the social medias today. We figured this is a good time to hop in here and talk about the topic. Doubt. Josh wants to know what we think of the 3 transfers we've gotten so far. Tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. and we'll tell you all about it, man. That's it for this episode. War Damn Eagle. Love each and every one of y'all. We'll catch y'all tomorrow night, man.
War Damn, baby.
Sir.